Welcome to the Press Box, a presentation of the Dispatch and Argus Sports Department. I'm Marc Nesseler. This is Daniel Makarewicz, and, well, it's week 6, and let me preface that by saying that Moline is at Peoria Notre Dame, correct. UT hosts Richwoods, Geneseo hosts Ottawa, but the one game that everyone wants to talk about, hear about, and read about is Alleman against Rock Island. Dan, you covered Alleman Quincy last week. I had Rock Island and Peoria High. Ironically, those are their two common opponents, but I'm thinking there's not a lot we can take from that.
No, I mean, Alleman's a different team from their week 1 loss at Peoria High. Rock Island is obviously, you can't judge a lot in less than a week since they played Peoria High last week, but each team's gotten better as the week's gone on. I know the coaches have said that. The players probably feel that way. So, I mean, if you want, you could say, well, Alleman beat Quincy 26-7, and Rock Island only beat Quincy 19-14. So, I mean, you can throw those out because at this point it really seems irrelevant what they've done previously and against common opponents.
Sure. Now, originally I thought maybe this would be a defensive struggle like last year, an overtime game decided by a field goal. But then I look at the numbers and the backfields and the speed of both teams and the depth. Yes, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe it could be a high-scoring. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I think it could be that way. I mean, I could see it go to two different ways. It'd be a 10-7 game again, or it could be played in the 30s. I think both coaches would prefer it to be, a defensive struggle because that's kind of what they want to hang their hats on. But if their offense could get on track, with Rock Island's running backs and Alleman's running backs and both teams' ability to throw the ball, it could be a track meet.
Oddly, Alleman's defensive numbers rushing, they hold the teams to 144 yards. And I think all of Rock Island's backs last week had about that much. Rock Island's defense averages 130 yards rushing, and any one of Alleman's running backs could get that much. I mean, you had Hubble early with a hot hand. Then it became O'Keefe at quarterback, and lately it was Kylie Dorsey. Yeah. How good is he last? How good was he last?
Well, career high 116 rushing yards. He had 94 receiving yards, all 4 touchdowns. I mean, a kid that missed all of last season with a knee injury except for 3 plays. He's kind of coming into his own. And I've had several people tell me that he may be the best athlete that Alleman's had in a long time, at least 2 decades. So, they have that big, fast, physical presence, that Alleman's not really used to a lot because, they always say there's speed and there's Alleman speed. But you look at also what Rock Island has in the backfield. I think that Rock Island would rather see it go 4-play scoring drive, where Alleman, again, wants to do a 10, 15-play scoring drive.
Conversely, Brandon Richardson's coming off his best game, 5 touchdowns, almost 300 yards of total offense. And you look at Rock Island's backfield, Linder Devos had his best game, I thought, in week 4. Richardson's best game came in week 5. And Prince Gale's best game, I thought, came in game 5 as well, where he had 2 long touchdown runs. So you got Rock Island with a hot hand. My one question is, could this come down to a kicking game?
It could.
And if it does, what does that mean?
I mean, Alleman's got a freshman kicker, Nathan Graves, because their number 1 kicker got hurt.
Right.
And, I mean, if it comes down to that, who knows? I don't think the coaches want it to come down to a kicking game. I mean, I said this before, and I'm gonna stick with it. I really think it's going to come down to turnovers because Rock Island has benefited from turnovers. I believe they're number 1 in turnover margin in the league.
Right.
And Alleman's number 2 in turnover margin in the league. I'm going to stick by that. It's turnovers is going to really decide who can be able to take a 1-game lead in the Big Six.
I think the one thing we haven't looked at and could be a factor is the passing game.
Correct.
Where both O'Keefe and Sigel had big games last week with 2 long scoring strikes, ironically to Dorsey and Richardson.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You always think of Rock Island and Alleman as, running teams. They can get in the air and they can be effective. And that could be an interesting scenario when it comes to, okay, if they get in a 3rd and long, what are they going to do if they get a 2nd down? I really think if they get in passing situations, they're going to look to go into the air.
I'm just going to say a high-scoring one just because I think that's the most fun outcome. Let's look at some other games in the area. 2 big ones in the area. Mercer County playing Stark County, and also Rockridge on Saturday traveling to St. Bede. Hit both of those.
Rockridge is playing extremely well. I think they're underrated in the state rankings. That's a team that could make a long postseason push. And then looking at the Lincoln Trail Conference, Mercer County 19-game winning streak, 25-game regular season winning streak. The last team to beat them was Stark County. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the
Perfect. Sets up a great Friday night. We'll see you in the press box, and we're from the press box. Have a great time.